John Matthews had spent the last 15 years of his life climbing the corporate ladder to become the branch manager of Capital Prime Bank. With his sharp suits, quick wit, and reputation for running a tight ship, he was the picture of success. But beneath the surface, cracks had begun to form in the pristine facade. A $20 million discrepancy in the bank's finances, an accounting anomaly he had failed to report months ago, loomed over him like a dark cloud. Juliana Carter, John's girlfriend, was everything he wasn't. Wild, unpredictable, and magnetic, she brought a thrill to his otherwise controlled existence. What John didn't know was that Juliana's thrill-seeking extended far beyond spontaneous road trips or midnight escapades. She was entangled with a dangerous gang, a group of career criminals with a penchant for high-stakes heists, and now, they had set their sights on John's bank. "You trust me, don't you, John?" Juliana's voice was honey-sweet, but her eyes betrayed a storm beneath the surface. "Of course," John replied, though he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Over the next few weeks, Juliana became unusually interested in John's work. She'd ask about security protocols, cash reserves, and even the timing of armored truck deliveries. John, blinded by love and guilt over his financial mismanagement, saw her curiosity as a sign of support rather than suspicion. Unbeknownst to him, Juliana was feeding every detail to her gang. Led by the ruthless and calculating Victor Drake, the gang meticulously planned the robbery. They would strike during a shift change, when the bank's defenses were weakest. It was a crisp Friday morning when the gang made their move. Disguised as maintenance workers, they bypassed the outer layers of security with fake IDs and stolen access codes. Within minutes, the bank's lobby turned into chaos as masked figures brandished weapons and ordered everyone to the ground. John, feigning ignorance, complied with their demands. Inside, his heart raced. He recognized one of the robbers. A telltale scar on his hand matched a story Juliana had once told him about her troubled cousin. This isn't happening, John thought. But the reality was undeniable. As the gang emptied the vault, John's mind raced. If the police uncovered the $20 million shortage, his career and freedom would be over. When the heist ended, the gang fled with $2 million in cash. The bank's alarm system had been delayed just long enough to give them a clean getaway. Within hours, news vans surrounded the bank, and reporters clamored for a statement. John stepped forward, his face a mask of controlled panic. "The robbers took $40 million, he declared to the cameras. The lie slipped out smoothly. But the weight of it was immediate. By inflating the stolen amount, John hoped to mask the existing $20 million deficit. The idea was risky but brilliant. Investigators would focus on the robbery, and the prior shortage could be swept under the rug. Detective Laura Monroe was assigned to the case. Known for her razor-sharp instincts, Laura quickly noticed inconsistencies in the reports. $40 million, she muttered, reviewing the bank's records. That vault doesn't even hold that much on a regular day. Her suspicions grew when she reviewed security footage. While most of the staff appeared terrified, John's demeanor struck her as odd. He was too calm, too composed. Meanwhile, the gang celebrated their success in a secluded warehouse. But Victor wasn't satisfied. $2 million doesn't match what we've heard, he said, staring at Juliana. Your boyfriend's lying to someone. The question is, who? Under mounting pressure, John's life unraveled. Juliana, sensing Victor's growing distrust, became distant. Detective Monroe's investigation closed in, uncovering discrepancies in the bank's financial history. And Victor, ever the predator, began plotting his next move. Late one night, Juliana confronted John. "What did you do?" she demanded. "Victor thinks you're hiding money." John's facade cracked. "I didn't have a choice. The bank was already missing $20 million before the robbery. I had to inflate the numbers to cover it up. Juliana's eyes widened. Do you realize what you've done? Victor's going to come after you, and me. Victor's gang stormed John's apartment the following evening. What they didn't expect was Detective Monroe and her team, who had been surveilling John after a tip-off from Juliana. A tense standoff ensued, culminating in a hail of gunfire. Victor and his crew were arrested, but not before revealing Juliana's involvement. Betrayed and cornered, Juliana turned on John, claiming he had masterminded the entire scheme. John, now a broken man, confessed to the embezzlement and the cover-up. The story dominated headlines for weeks. John was sentenced to 20 years in prison, a cautionary tale of greed and desperation. Juliana, in exchange for her testimony, received a lighter sentence but lost everything she held dear. Detective Monroe, though hailed as a hero, couldn't shake the case from her mind. The shadows in the vault had been illuminated, but they left behind scars that would linger for years. And as for the $20 million, it was never found, buried somewhere in the labyrinth of John's deception.